You are watching a Fact TV presentation of the Town of Swanzey Selectmen Meeting.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the regular meeting minutes of April 26th. Any corrections, additions, or deletions? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any additions, deletions?
No, sir.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public input. We got anybody on Zoom? Okay. We'll entertain nominations.
Make a motion that we nominate Nancy Karlson to the Conservation Commission for a 3-year term.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded to approve Nancy Karlson to the Conservation Commission. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Kevin, tax collector.
Boos and misses. Do you want to start with the updates from what we provided on Monday? We've got a couple that we can check off the list, or?
Yes, we can, yep. We're gonna review all the ones that we recommended not to take.
Do we need to?
Looked okay to me.
Unless you had any questions or concerns?
Do you feel like you've got good payment plans in place, either now or they've been ongoing and
Yes.
participating?
Yeah, and some of those were on the list last year. For the most part, they made progress, they're going in the right direction.
Good.
Are there any that have changed since?
Yes, so, next to the last one, road, they have paid.
Paid the whole deed balance, right?
Yeah, they paid the deed balance, they are still doing one.
Good.
So that takes them off the list.
I didn't get that.
Road,
The second from the bottom, road,
89 Johnson Road.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I think
My
I have it
bad.
that way, thank you.
and then, one other update is Living Good. I guess we'll be on the second page, second one up from the bottom. She was in town hall today,
What's the address,
Is
Kevin?
that 84?
84 Jocelyn Road.
Thank you.
Neil passed away a year ago. She is going to attempt to get things current. She's entered a payment plan. It's $200 a month. She did give us money today. So, based upon that, I guess we've kind of changed our recommendation that we see if we can make headway with the payment plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other one is Hopkins, 9 Ridgeview. She happened to be in town hall yesterday, and I had a conversation with her about the situation. She's telling me that back in April, her credit union, she says sent in a check. I never received, to my knowledge, I never received the check. I did some looking around and some research to see if we had it, and it was applied maybe. I saw no evidence of it. She was supposed to get back to me today because she was going to contact the credit union today. At about 2 o'clock or so, I hadn't heard from her. I did make a phone call to her and leave her a message. And that's where we stand right now on that one.
What's your recommendation on that one?
I guess I'd like to know a little bit more what where the check is, or what the status of that is. Is it, Is it possible maybe it was lost in the mail?
Right.
I guess I'd like a few days to take and let that come to a conclusion on that.
Could we wait a couple weeks on that, or is it a process?
Yeah, I believe you can wait a little while before you have to renotice it, correct?
Yes. 2 weeks.
Like that?
We're meeting on
Give
the
you enough.
17th, right?
Yeah, I think so, right?
Yep.
Okay. So those are the only updates that I have.
What about Fraser?
Oh, yes, you're right, yes. So Linda Frazier. She is in an assisted living.
What's the address?
143 Warmack Road.
143 Warmack
Thank you.
She is in an
143 Warmack Road.
She is in assisted living, and she has been, there's been a court-appointed guardian for her. And they have reviewed her finances. I went back and forth with emails with the court-appointed guardian yesterday. They said they wanted some time to review the finances, but they could tell me there is money there to pay for the deeding amount. And that I asked them, well, when can we expect those funds? And they said in about 2 weeks. So I guess
Same 2 weeks?
I would suggest put that way. Same situation with mine.
They're throwing stuff at you now.
I thought Jasmine was here to help you and support you.
So basically, we're dealing with the remaining properties on page 2 and page 3?
Yes.
Okay. So do we want a motion that excludes, or do we want a motion that includes?
I would say excludes the ones we identified for 2 weeks. So the ones that we're delaying, you'd be foregoing accepting the tax deed.
Okay, so we just ignore them.
Right.
Do we have to have a motion on that?
Ideally, we'd have 2 motions, so you would add these ones to the forego list and subtract them from the accept list.
Well, we're not adding them to the list, because the list,
So a 2 week?
we're just giving them, we'll have 3 lists, right?
Right.
I'm just,
Yep, you could do it that way. You could do just one that you're not accepting now and one that you are, or if you want to have a group for the 2 week, you could do that as well.
okay. So you want a motion for the ones that he's recommended that we not receive, or are we okay just that he's not recommending that we take them, so we
Right.
just leave them alone?
I think it's better to have an affirmative action that you're not, that there's a record, because I think we're going to have you sign off on the deed waiver forms for those,
And I would send them letters notifying them
that their deed was not accepted. Yeah.
Okay, do you want the motion by address or by name, or both?
I think I had them in there and suggested as by address,
You
right?
have it by address. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the tax collector's recommendation that we not move to tax deed on addresses, do you want them 715 Old Homestead, 36 Pondview, 105 Pondview, 52 Mountain View Road, 334 Flat Roof Mill Road, 46 Diana Drive, 84 Jocelyn Road, and 89 Jocelyn Road.
I'll second that.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I make a motion that we defer a decision until May 17th with regard to properties at 143 Warmack Road and 9 Ridgeview Road.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion that we accept the tax collector's recommendation that we deed the following property, take the following properties by tax deed: 225 Hale Hill Road and land on Hale Hill Road, 150 Marcy Hill Road, land on Monadnock Highway,
adjacent to the roundabout.
Adjacent, that's the one?
Yeah.
Oh, adjacent to the roundabout. 2 parcels at 55 Denman Thompson Highway and 40 Cram Hill Road.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just have a quick question on the one for 40 Cram Hill Road. I didn't see this before. You lead in with, also has a 2019 lien. What does that mean?
Well, we're deeding 2020 liens. He also owes for the 2019 lien.
Oh, okay, why didn't we do the 2019?
Last year, he would have been, he was on the list, and we decided to forego. He was making payments.
Oh, okay.
Those figures that are in these write-ups that are last year's figures, any of those that have those figures were on the deed list last year, and I just gave those, I left those in there as a comparison. That's one where the situation's gotten worse.
Okay. Unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah, so even though like the last payment really wasn't that long ago, March of '23, they're still further behind now than they were last year.
Yes.
So going in the opposite direction.
Like you can see the first property there, 715 Old Homestead Highway. That has been a little bit of work to collect that, but he's in much better shape than he was a year ago.
That's good.
Good.
Nice job, Kevin.
Thank you.
I told you wouldn't need all that time. See? It's kind of moot now, but Mike and Kevin and Julius did drive around and take a look and didn't see anything that would expect to add any significant liability. So that's part of our process.
Okay, Joe, you're up.
Evening.
Good evening, how are you?
Well, yourself?
Good.
So we received the 2023 bids on the asphalt and shipment overlay, and All States Construction come in at the lowest at $223,415. So we'd like to approve for the select board to move forward with them for this year's paving.
I'll make the motion as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Boy, you were right on the seat, front of the chair, weren't you? Right on the edge.
seemed like enough.
Oh,
You want to talk about the capital, the sewer capital law? Probably got a minute.
As far as
So under new business, item A, we had a requested expenditure for North Swansea sewer capital expenditure. So Keene periodically bills us. We own whatever it is, 4.6% of the Keene plant. So that's basically 5 years worth of our share of capital expenses at the plant. So normally that'd be something the sewer commission would approve coming out of the sewer capital reserve fund. But now that you are fortunately the sewer commissioners, we'd be looking for you to approve that authorization.
Yes, the sewer commission made us aware of that before the transfer, that would be coming and been in the works for a little bit.
what's the actual percentage that we have in the plant?
In the plan going into Keene,
The plant, yeah.
I want to say, I don't have the exact figures in front of me. We're not even close to what we have. There's quite a bit more we can add to it up there. Over in this other town, we're obviously we're coming together with a plan. Should have it from the contractor by maybe the end of next week as far as correcting an issue with phosphorus. The plant over here can accept more flow, but unfortunately, until we can develop a way to treat this phosphorus, we can't take anything else in. The 80,000 flow rates, that's about all they can handle for phosphorus. The contractor's pretty confident he's come up with a plan that they can treat for it and allow us to take on more. So it'll be a trial and error, but they're pretty confident that it will at the very least make some of an improvement short term. We're also pursuing some planning grants long term for that. But as far as up in North Swansea, there's a lot more we can add to it.
Thanks.
I can get the exact follow-up, the exact figures. I don't want to misquote, but we're not even close to what percentage we have purchased in.
Okay, where's it coming out of, Michael?
It's the North Swansea Sewer Capital Reserve Fund. It's $28,516.63.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will follow up with an email so you know the exact figures of what the left to keep.
Thanks. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. What else can we do between now and 6?
Probably do the other appointment. I don't think that's probably gonna take longer than 15 minutes.
You mean on the ambulance service?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chief, would you like to come up and help me give an update? So as I know the board is aware, I think most people here are probably aware, we got the call on Monday evening that DiRusso ambulance was ceasing operations in the next 24 to 48 hours. They'd made arrangements with Rescue Inc. of Brattleboro to continue to provide continuity of operations. They'll be serving for, it sounds like 90 days, based out of the Keene fire stations with an ambulance and a crew in each of the Keene stations. Chief Gould and I met with Chief Hazelton with Rescue Inc. yesterday and just got a better handle on kind of the operationally. They're interested in possible long-term relationships, but at this point they're really viewing it just as a kind of mutual aid public service to assist during the current transition. They want to make sure towns have an opportunity to make informed decisions about what happens moving forward, not be rushed by the sudden change into making a new decision. So, any updates on operations that you can outline better than I can, Chief? Or
No, operationally it's similar to what it was, 24 hours ago. So
the ambulances have a different color. They hired most of the DiRusso staff, so it should be people that are familiar with the area, working with the department.
yeah, we did a call earlier on Main Street, and it was the DiRusso crew that's been responding there many times. Just different uniform, different ambulance. Yeah, operationally, it's still early to tell. It's not, it hasn't even been a full day yet. So, but it's similar. The only difference is coming out of Court Street there, they're coming out of either West Station or Central, which is right there. So.
And I saw somewhere in here that DiRusso really only had 2 ambulances in service at any one time.
Yeah, let's that. Plus they would have, they might have a third with a paramedic that was able to respond as what we used to call it, a fly car. So they would have 2 ambulances for transport and sometimes a paramedic. So this is similar to what the staffing and availability of ambulances was previously.
So one of the folks we met with was Tyler Boucher, who was I don't know what his title
He was
is.
the operations boss there.
With DiRusso, but also associated with Rescue Inc. So that was my question, sounds like significantly less than we understood DiRusso to have at any one time, and he indicated that was not necessarily the case, and that Keene is also up staffing from 3 to 4 crews.
So the variable of 30 to 90 days, you're confident it's 90 days?
He said it had to go to his board last night to get it extended from 30 to 90. So he didn't report back either way today, but he seemed pretty confident that it would be 90.
And would we be paying them the same amount that we would pay DiRusso?
They're not expecting any compensation at this point, so no, not necessarily. I said, well, we were paying DiRusso a standby fee, and he said, well, I wouldn't pay that, which I knew, but he didn't seem to expect. They don't expect any compensation, at least from us. They'll be doing the billing, I assume, but not expecting any standby fee from us. Whether we want to have a contract that clearly kind of outlines that, or some kind of memorandum of understanding or not, is fine. But then, you might get into the compensation angle. So I told him we didn't expect it for free, but we don't like surprise bills. So if there was an expectation that the bill was going to be coming, then we'd want to know in advance.
Yeah, I was brought up in that Teams meeting last night as well. Other communities are wondering if they're gonna get bills for services now, but they assured that that wouldn't be the case. Right now, it's basically like a help situation, like a mutual aid situation. And like Michael said, their operations are gonna give the towns, the communities time to kind of absorb this and then come back and with data, because they don't have the data, the response data that they need to present what the costs are going to be to extend the contract to these communities. So it's right now it just kind of almost like a wait and see, you know. But there's no gap in service.
So, go ahead. There was a comment in this brief about potentially reaching out to towns that also utilize DiRusso to have a common meeting and determine whether as a group we wanted to put out an RFP or whether we wanted to go alone as we have. Have you had time to think about that or help us with some direction?
No, do you want to? I mean, I haven't reached out to any other fire representatives or fire chiefs, but Michael had kind of understood it. They want to have one, almost like a town meeting for all the contract towns, so they don't have to go out and visit everybody. They want the same message to be relayed at one point in time. So Michael actually offered we could host it.
Yeah, and so what I was putting in here was just the possibility of maybe not waiting for that to happen, but taking an active role and facilitating it with whoever's interested, you know, whatever entities, providers that are interested, and whatever communities that are interested, versus waiting and reacting to Rescue Inc. scheduling it, which we obviously don't know when that will be. So the downside is if we start down that path and then it starts to take too long, at what point do you cut the cord and do your own thing? It's the potential challenge, but I think it's worth trying.
So you all would initiate that contact and schedule a meeting this month?
Yes.
For upstairs?
If you think that's a worthwhile endeavor. Because even Rescue Inc. said if Swanzey wants us to stay and no one else does, probably isn't worth it for them. So not that they necessarily need every client down, but so there's that factor too. If we go our own way, there might be fewer options, or the options that are there might be more expensive.
But that would all happen, in terms of the scheduling of it, that could all be done over the next few days in anticipation of having a meeting this month.
Yes.
And at the very least, you'd be able to let us know. Are we meeting next Wednesday?
We hadn't planned to, but we can.
So the 17th, that you'd be able to let us know by the 17th or sooner by email if which towns are interested and which ones are not.
Correct.
Because I don't personally think we want to be waiting
No.
any length of time. And if we have to go alone, we go alone.
I agree.
What other options do we have?
As far as vendors, well, there's the county, and then there's Keene Fire. So the other option would be us, and handle ourselves, but I don't think we're at that point. So sure it would be an outside source. We're not quite ready to be able to take our own transport service. So it would be Cheshire County, Keene Fire, Rescue Inc., or if there's another vendor out there that's willing to come in and give a pitch.
Are those connections that you can make in the interim so that we know that there's at least some discussion going on with Keene and with the county?
Absolutely.
We could have that by the 17th, have an update.
Yes.
what guarantee do we have that they'll go out 90 days if we don't have a contract? And we understand it's goodwill, but there is the possibility that they're going to recognize that without some funds coming in, the goodwill only goes so far. So what assurances do we have?
Well,
Other than word of mouth, we have none. We don't have anything from DiRusso in writing either that they're
No,
going
but
out
we
of
have a
business.
contract.
Right.
So in this case, we really don't. It doesn't sound like we have.
no, that's like, Michael, he offered Drew Hazelton, the ops chief, they, or kind of requested that we get an MOU, get something in writing, even for the brief short term, even it's a 90-day thing, so. But they assured us that they want to just, they're with, in concert with Keen Fire, that they want to take this situation where DiRusso is responding and handle it. As soon as they get their response data in, we'll get that out to the contract towns.
I'm all set.
Good.
Okay, I guess we're there.
Got our marching orders on.
Yes, sir.
Can you hang out until the end, please?
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. What else we got?
Recording stopped.
Having a Zoom issue, so we
Time
have
for
to
the
stop and
public
restart
hearing.
every 40 minutes, so it's a good time, actually.
So what are we getting Zoom up again, or what?
Yeah, they're just gonna restart the meeting.
What else we got?
I don't have anything at the moment.
I suppose that we could do the public hearing.
Yeah, it's very close to that time.
So we can,
Don't you pause for just give it a little more minute. Let's get these folks settle and we'll be pretty close with that. I'll start to read the notice, right?
all right, before we get to the California Street, North Winchester Street reconstruction informational meeting, we do have a public hearing relative to RSA 4114A, which is the proposed sale of town property at town map 16, lot 13, and map 16, lot 19. And I suppose we can open the public hearing as far as that's concerned, but is there any discussion? This is the second of two public hearings. We've already heard from the Conservation Commission, and we also heard from the Planning Board. Is there further discussion? Is there further discussion from the gallery? Hearing none, I guess we'll close the public hearing. Now we can open up the meeting with North Winchester Street and California Street reconstruction project. Why don't you go ahead?
So we have some of our friends here from Underwood Engineers who'll be doing a brief informational discussion of the meeting, the project. We have a sign-in sheet at the door and also a handout which we'll tell you a little bit more about after. But with that, I'll welcome up Ben Dreyer. We got a little PowerPoint and he'll introduce the rest of his team.
So you need these?
Or is it off down?
Do you need anything with that or no?
No, it's on here. There's nowhere good to stand where you're not going to have a column in the way or something.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. Yeah, my name is Ben Dreyer with Underwood Engineers. This is an informational meeting for California Street and North Winchester Street reconstruction. So I will give you a quick overview of the agenda, but basically the purpose of this meeting, we right now are in a very early design stage. We're going to present some concepts. There'll be a chance for some feedback from you guys too. So that's where we're at. That's the purpose. So here, quick meeting agenda. I'll do some intros of our project team. We'll give you a little background and history of kind of how we got to this point where we are right now. Then we'll show you some concepts, the early ideas of what we're looking at, what we're thinking. We'll go over the overall project schedule, and then there'll be a chance for some involvement from you guys to do a survey and feedback, and then we'll have a wrap up with questions and comments. All right, so project team, we're working with the town, obviously, town staff involved here, Mike Branley, town administrator, DiRusso, public works director, and Sarah Bollender. I don't think Sarah's here tonight, but she's a town planner involved. So these are the guys we're working with at the town level. And then for Underwood Engineers, I'm the project manager. Dan, the yellow shirt here, is a senior project engineer, so he's taking the lead on the design, and Seamus, the blue shirt here, is working with Dan to put the details together. So they've done a lot of the work putting these concepts together that we'll look at tonight. So a little bit of background, and you know, if you've driven through in West Swanzey, you're probably familiar with the new work that was done at South Winchester, West and Swanzey Streets. That construction happened in 2021, finished up last year in 2022. Also last year in 2022, we wrote engineering evaluation report on North Winchester and California Streets as a continuation of that project. And that was to support a grant application to fund that. The grant application request was for $1 million, and $306,000 was awarded. And then, you know, kind of coming up to speed now where we're at with this spring, we worked with the town assembled an advisory committee. We provided a number of initial concepts, and they've narrowed it down to 2 concepts that we'll look at tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Dan. He's going to go through those project concepts with you guys.
Yeah, good evening. As Ben said, my name is Dan Rochette, senior engineer working on the team. So the area we're talking about, I'm sure most of you are familiar with, is California Street and North Winchester Street is the areas that we're looking at. There we go. The project goals is to obviously improve the condition of the road and the road surface. They're in pretty rough shape right now. Improve drainage issues, improve safety, and look at some things that we can do to maybe implement some complete street improvements, and also try to incorporate some implements to create a gateway to Main Street coming down California Street. As I said, the current road conditions, this is a couple representative shots of California Street. There's a lot of cracking, a lot of potholes. The drainage is poor, there's a lot of puddling in spots, and also I've noticed some wheel rutting and whatnot. And fairly similar for North Winchester Street. Lots of cracking, rough riding road. Essentially the pavement is pretty much failed. So as Ben noted, we did essentially have two roadway concepts that we've kind of pushed forward to present tonight. One, I guess it's two concepts for California Street and one concept for North Winchester Street. California Street, one of the concepts is a two-way. It's actually a 20-foot travel way, not a 24-foot travel way. We do have 24 feet wide up towards the intersection of Route 10. And then there's a one-way concept with as narrow as a 12-foot travel way. And then North Winchester Street would maintain two-way traffic, and we're looking at a 20-foot wide travel way. And as Ben said, these are the options that the Town Advisory Committee did review and recommend to go to the next step. And there will be options for a public survey for everybody to tell us what their preferences are. So this is kind of a graphic we put together to show what the two-way pattern of California Street would look like. This is at the intersection of Route 10. Route 10 is right here. You'll notice this area here we added on. There has been some planning, conceptual planning efforts done by the Regional Planning Commission to possibly do some improvements in the Route 10 corridor. And so that would include possibly a sidewalk along here with a grass strip. So then we're just showing that just to represent what that might look like. And essentially the two-way traffic pattern is putting down what's there now. It's fairly similar with road, 20 feet, going down towards Main Street. And we did provide, we would provide a 24-foot wide width towards the intersection just to help provide a little extra space for turning movements.
So the green is a grassway and the brown is sidewalk?
Yes, so we showed some green here just to show the edge, help depict the edge of the road a little bit. And usually when we go and rebuild the roads, you have to regrade and reestablish the shoulder. So yes, the green would be grass areas, and the brown here would be, this is actually a new sidewalk that would extend all the way to the DOT right away here, with the idea that if this work were to happen, then they could connect onto that sidewalk. So here is California Street between, we decided to do a graphic here between Swanzey Street, which is right here, and this is North Winchester up here. And the idea is to provide a 24-foot wide area through here. Right now it's actually I don't know the number, but it's probably in the mid-30 range. So there's a lot of pavement there that isn't necessary. And the idea is that we could narrow it to 24 feet and then make this provide a nice wide turf area here for any sort of future landscape considerations. This is a fairly wide driveway entrance here, so we would try to maybe narrow that down a little bit just to provide some better definition for entrance and exit out of there. And we'd be looking at reconfiguring some of these crosswalk locations to better, to help provide some better pedestrian flow for people heading down Main Street. There is an alternate configuration that we'll review or look into for Swanzey Street to help pull the crosswalk closer to the intersection and just try to improve some safety concerns there. And then California Street, this is the second option for California Street, the one-way. Again, we're showing the Regional Planning Commission work here. We're looking at a 15-foot wide traveled way in the area near the intersection, and then it could narrow down as skinny as 12 feet. One-way traffic flow heading towards Main Street away from Route 10. The proposed sidewalk would kind of remain where we showed it before, and then we'd be adding some grass strips between the edge of the road and the sidewalk to help provide some separation from the pedestrians and the sidewalk and the travelers in the road, and also give us some space to implement some drainage, maybe some drainage elements, treatment elements that we may not have space for otherwise.
Can we discuss California Street, or you're going to go on North Winchester Street? Because I live on California Street. It has been two-way. There's been no problems. I don't know if that wide one is my driveway because there's two houses with that driveway.
That's the apartment building.
That's the apartment building.
On California Street?
Cheshire Arms.
Right across from Swanzey Street.
Oh,
Yeah, that's right here.
Yeah, I believe you're at the other corner down here now. I believe you're down there.
oh. So where's the covered bridge?
Covered bridge is not on the screen. It's
The
off to
covered
the right.
bridge is off the screen over here. So for California Street, the one-way option, when you get to this area between Swanzey Street and North Winchester Street, we're going to maintain two-way traffic in that area. And it's essentially the same, we have the same concept here as the two-way concept.
Okay, can it stay two-way? Because I'm on the brow of the hill there, 3 houses up. To take and go around through the covered bridge over to Spring Street where my shop is, that's over a mile and a half. Just for me to go around, not being able to come down California Street to the covered bridge. That's not gonna be good.
Right now, we're presenting concepts that we've developed for
Yeah, but a
public opinion.
one-way is not gonna be. I mean, I've been there for 54, going on 55 years, and haven't had any problems. Of course, it's a little hard getting in and out of my driveway because of the cars you can't see at the brow of the hill, and you start to come out and they're there. But there haven't been any accidents, and there haven't been any problems. And to take and go one way is gonna be a big problem for everybody on that street. Going up from North Winchester Street to Route 10.
Okay.
It's gotta be a two-way.
This is why we're presenting this tonight, to get feedback and people's thoughts and opinions on concepts that we're potentially considering for further reconstruction.
The one part I'm not understanding on this slide here is you're putting in the new crosswalk going from the apartment building across the street. Are you taking away the old one, or is there going to be 2 crosswalks?
This crosswalk would be removed here,
Ah,
and this crosswalk would be removed here. So it's kind of consolidating the traffic, the pedestrian movement here and here. It helps straighten out the pedestrian movement crossing California Street, heading up towards North Winchester on the existing sidewalk. And then also, it allows people to just cross here and then cross here to go to Main Street.
yeah, because most of the traffic that actually would be doing that would have an issue would be the children going to Cutler and so forth, who are walking. So I'm concerned about that, to make sure that it's safe for children.
Yep. similar to the other option, we'll be looking at, you know, the potential for this alternate configuration here at Swanzey Street. So that's California Street. And one last thing, it was just to kind of depict the possible access routes to Route 10 if the one-way option were to be implemented. There would still be four access points to Route 10, one at North Winchester, West Street, Cobble Hill, thanks Ben, and South Winchester Street. So on North Winchester Street, based on the feedback from the advisory committee, we've only really advanced one concept, which is a two-way traffic pattern. Here we're showing trying to reconfigure or realign this intersection with Route 10 to try to tee it up a little better and hopefully improve some sight distance. We understand that that's a fairly tricky intersection. Similar to California Street, we were looking at 24-foot widths in this area to help with turning, provide space for turning movements, and then it would narrow down to 20 feet for the length of the street. And this is just another spot on the road. We just wanted to kind of depict what it might look like. Again, the gray is roadway, and then the green here on this side is grass strip between the reconstructed road and the existing sidewalk that we didn't color in, but the existing sidewalk is right along here. And the other side of the road, the eastern side of the road would stay as is, with no sidewalk work.
Makes it hard to see where you are, how far up. I saw the entrance or the exit to Route 10, but according to your map, you don't show any houses where they might be, or anything else, or driveways or what have you there, and it's very difficult to look. And the way you put the sidewalk, you're putting a green area there that it looks like it's going to narrow the road.
We are narrowing the road.
I don't think we need the road any narrower than it is.
Well, what I would, I can't believe I'm actually saying this, but what I think is needed, especially if you narrow the road, is they need to put on speed bumps on it, because the problem we have is a lot of people who don't live in the whole area, but they use it as a transit way. And we get people, I try and make sure everybody says, 20, 25 miles an hour, but we get people zipping by at 40 miles an hour, 45 miles an hour. If you put some speed bumps in there, if you're narrowing it, it might become less attractive for people to use it as a detour.
I just want to add my concern to that. I'd prefer not to be videoed if possible, please, sir. Thank you, I appreciate that. I'm excited. I live on North Winchester. To have a beautiful street. I'm very concerned about the traffic that the person before me just brought up. People fly down there. I haven't seen any dead cats, but I've seen other dead animals. So I think the idea of a speed bump of some kind, I would be in favor of.
I think from a maintenance perspective, I know our road agent is here probably hiding, but speed bumps are not probably something we're going to be open to, but I think the best option we have is to either try to narrow the roadway a little bit so it feels more compact, that gives people signals that I need to slow down, there's a lot going on in this area, or the one-way option, which I know is not popular, but it's going to be half the traffic. So those are kind of the two options, but I don't. Joe,
speed bumps are very problematic on roads, and especially with the snowstorms for plow equipment. In substantial snowstorms, they can cause a lot of damage to plows when they're missed, and maintenance nightmare really slows things down for a winter cleanup. So, as much as I realize that obviously the safety concern there, they're very problematic when it comes to maintaining the road.
And so part of the survey, which Dan mentioned, and we'll talk a little bit more when we get done, but it's gonna have a QR code you can go on and fill out, and it's an opportunity to give people their priorities. Do you want cars to go as fast as possible, slow as possible? Are pedestrian improvements important to you or not as important? So we definitely want to get that feedback both here and on the survey. So no decisions have been made. These are just concepts, and we value the input.
One thing too, it is the existing width on North Winchester in some places is up to like 26 feet of pavement. So going down to 20 that reduction is one tool that is commonly used for traffic calming. The road will feel narrower to help people feel like they need to slow down. So just as that.
Yeah, basically, as long as Google's still putting it on there as a premier route, and that's the problem. If we can, I was hoping it would be something like, we go into Keene, out by the college, and they have those two sets of, they're very wide speed bumps. I don't know if that makes a difference, but it does. You can see the traffic drop. It drops 15 miles an hour easy right there.
If you guys are narrowing the road, are you doing it from the east side or west or both?
I think my original thoughts when I was looking at this was to maintain the edge of pavement along, sorry, which way am I going? Driving my car backwards. Maintain, it seemed like it was fitting well to maintain the existing edge of the road on this side, and then on the east side, and then taking some of that width off of the western side. But the road does vary in width a lot going through that area, like over in this stretch here, like in this area here, the existing width is 20 feet, or even it might even be just a slice more, like 21 or 22. And then in some of the other areas, as Ben was talking about, when you get more in front of more of where the houses are, that's where it does widen out to like a 26 or 27 feet. So the existing roadway does vary quite a bit.
Okay. And not only does narrowing that has that calming effect, but also we've been trying to do it some of the older roads in town that weren't designed. They're as wide as 30 feet in spots, and it just makes it a lot more expensive when it comes to resurfacing these roads, and there's no need for it for them to be that wide.
If you were to do it on the east side, where I live, I bought my house, there was a fence already there, but there's about 1 foot between the pavement and my fence. If there's any way we could have more, just have like a little more distance.
Do you live on the east side or the west side?
On the east side.
Yeah, he's saying he's not going to change the east side. It's the west side that has the sidewalk.
Yeah.
We're going to get more green with the sidewalk.
I was just saying, in my preference, I'd actually like it on the east side to have more space.
Right.
Yeah, and when it comes to designs and alignment, I mean, we consider, obviously we consider everything and impacts on either side of the road, but at the end of the day, it's, you want to put a road in there that looks pleasing to the eye, so you can't be jogging it around everywhere. You want to look down the road and have it look nice and straight, and looks like.
I just regret it if I didn't say it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'd be saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see where the drainage was addressed here either.
We really haven't looked at any of the drainage items yet. The intent for this was to really just get the concepts of the roadways that we're looking at out there, and once that is finalized, and that's when we really starting to look at the drainage.
Question on the end of North Winchester Street. Were you going to narrow that?
This spot here?
Yes.
Yep.
I have trucks turning around there. If you narrow it, they're going to go down through town. They need to be able to turn around.
This area in here?
Yes.
This
whole open area.
Yes.
I'm assuming you're not blocking the end.
Is this
That's a business there.
Yep. Yeah, so we were gonna.
And we have large trucks that come in there. They have to be able to turn around there and get back out if they can. You're gonna send them all down to the covered bridge.
Yeah, no, we were gonna leave this entrance the way it was here, And obviously, if trucks turning and whatnot is an issue or a concern, then we would look at that and make sure.
You also have campers going down there on 22. They're not supposed to, but they're. The other side of the river is a campground.
Oh, okay.
And Google sends them down North Winchester Street.
Go Google.
Yeah.
Sends a lot of people in the fields too.
These are the top results.
The ones we're talking about.
Who said Google?
Because right now, in changing this intersection to tee it up a little bit, it could, I don't know which direction, you know, the campers and stuff come from, but clean, you know, if you narrow this up and make it tighter, and make it harder for, you know, campers and whatnot to go through, that can help deter that type of traffic as well.
It'll either help it or make it worse.
Yeah, but that's good what you're saying, because that's Bob's garage right there.
Yeah.
And so that, you know, he's got tow trucks coming in and.
Yeah, no, and if there's obviously turning radiuses, you know, turning.
I'm in the road right now when I unload. The front of the truck is halfway across the road.
Okay.
And if you narrow it, it's going to not leave much room for people to get by.
Yeah, we'll look at it. So to sum up the concepts, again, it's kind of combined. It's two primary concepts. It's California Street two-way with North Winchester Street two-way. The total estimated cost that we've come up with that was just shy of $2 million, essentially 1.96 million. And essentially it just maintains existing traffic patterns the way it is.
Do North Winchester and forget about California Street. They come sailing through there, and it's the brow of the hill, you can't see on one side or the other as they come flying over. And there's children on that road. But you need the two-way. You need the two-way.
The second concept for the project area is California Street one-way, North Winchester Street two-way. This could provide a cost reduction of up to around $70,000. Add some green space. It would provide traffic calming, slow people down due to reduced paved widths, and it would, however, provide alternate routes to Route 10.
I think that besides safety, one of the concerns that the town was going to have is how is this going to impact the cost? What do we phrase it differently? We want to maintain the roads in the future. Putting a brand new road in is nice, but then 5-10 years from now, it's going to get problems again unless we have fun. Which of these, and how is it going to affect it so that it's easier to maintain and cheaper to maintain in the decades ahead?
The one-way that's easy. The one-way is narrower, there's less asphalt, it's quicker to pave from a maintenance perspective. One-way is cheaper to maintain.
Quicker to plow.
Quicker, yeah, exactly. And then, like I said, the narrowing down, not just, but these roads that we have in places that are 30 feet wide, there's no reason for it. It's that much more time plowing, that much more salt that it requires. So from a maintenance perspective, the one-way is easier.
Yeah, but California Street cannot be one.
I'm just explaining from a maintenance standpoint.
I know.
I'm kind of neutral on it. I can maintain either of them, but it's a fact. It's less money to construct. It's less money to resurface in the future. It's less money for salt. It's less time plowing. So from a maintenance standpoint, it would be more cost effective with the road being one way.
It's not that long. It's only.
I just, like I said, I'm just giving you from a maintenance perspective.
Try living there and think about going one way.
And that's
when they come through, they sail through that covered bridge right up over.
And that's what the survey's for. You can give all
I
those
mean,
comments
turn
in the
around and
survey.
have it one way this way out of, no, because then I can't get back home.
Actually, that is what they are suggesting, is they're saying it's going to be one way from Route 10 to the bridge. Nobody's going to come from the bridge going up California, saying that that's the wrong way. So one way would be from Route 10
Yeah,
to
and
the
then I
bridge.
gotta go all the way around
Yes.
through Route 10 and all that traffic just to be able to try to get back home. No.
Would the bridge be one way as well, or just?
No, just that stretch between Swanzey Street and North Westcott and Swanzey Street.
So you'd be,
Look into that.
So
Could make it a much
the next steps that we have moving forward is obviously a final concept will be selected based off of, you know, public opinion, looking at survey results. Obviously, the town, emergency services, and, you know, they'll all have, you know, some input in the final, you know, the final product. I think that the town has set up a public survey online through SurveyMonkey, and I'll show you that in a second. And then the town is going to continue to pursue some additional grants. And from a schedule standpoint, we're going to move into final design this summer and fall, and hopefully be ready for construction next summer. The stakeholder survey that we've been talking about, right now there's an online survey set up. I just took a screenshot of it. This is kind of what it looks like. There is a handout here, I believe Mike said. Is it near the sign-in sheet?
Yeah, I'll show it.
Yeah, it's near the sign-in sheet, and it's got a QR code that you can scan with your phone and go on and answer the questions.
And then we could have hard copies at town hall available as well
Yeah.
for folks that doesn't work for.
Is there a link on the website?
There will be.
And I didn't know if the presentation was going to be posted. I included the link to the SurveyMonkey as well. So
Just hold them up, Julia, so people can see. So it's a little half page. Just point your phone at it and click the link, and it's just I think a 10-question survey. Just take you a couple minutes. We'd greatly appreciate it.
and you said there'll be paper copies available?
Yeah,
where?
we can have. We'll have them at the town hall.
At the town
I can give you
hall,
my
thank you.
contact info, and you can.
But they're also, it's also online.
Yeah, and it'll be on the website as well too.
I'm sorry, I'm back in the dinosaur age. I don't have any.
So that's what we had for you today. Appreciate you guys coming for the presentation, and you know, we've had some good discussion already. But are there any additional questions or comments at this point?
For the gentleman with the maintenance question, I'm trying to get both sides and helping people. We're reducing Winchester from 26 feet approximately to 20 feet. Can you give us a rough magnitude of what that's going to save you on maintenance over the course of 10 years?
There's a lot that goes into it. First of all, in 8 to 10 years when it's resurfaced, that makes a substantial difference. Makes a substantial difference in the time plowed.
I mean, are we talking $10,000 and $200,000?
I have to do some figures, I can't get that, but it adds up. That's one of the goals we have is, like recently we just did a project on Marcy Hill where we reconstructed. And Marcy Hill was 30 feet wide for whatever reason, I have no idea. The road does not need to be designed that. And we brought it down to approximately 23 feet wide, clears out the intersection, but it adds up. And then, like I said, it adds up. It's more salt to keep the pavement there. It's more time plowing it, so it does add up.
That's what I was trying to tell you. People, nobody likes to get taken away from, but we can say, look, if you're reducing it to 20 small odd feet, here's how much money it saves us in taxes over the years, might be a help.
Maybe California Street one way creates a lot more left-hand turns on 10 from Winchester Street, which is not a good place to make class.
It's pretty dangerous. There's a lot of accidents there.
That's where the wrecks are, on California Street. And I don't understand why you would take crosswalks out just up from the covered bridge when all the kids come from Cutler, get down there and cross and then go through the bridge. But if you want to.
They're putting money, we're moving it from one side to the other.
But that's not where the kids would want to go. They would want to go quick as possible, right to the covered bridge.
Can you go back to that slide, Dan? I think maybe that's.
Crosswalk there, why would we take it out?
Well, the idea is, I think, is that he wants the crosswalk at the same spot where they have the sidewalk. Because right now, you have the sidewalk on the west side and the crosswalk on the east side.
Yeah, but most of the kids cross the street and then go through the covered bridge.
Right now, based on the width of that road, Dan was mentioning California Street is like 30 plus feet wide, so it would be narrowing it, would be making it a safer cross and just make it a direct left, kind of a left across and then a right versus going down and then across. And then if you were going on North Winchester, you have to go back up. So there's still going to be a crosswalk across both directions. It's just
also making the kids go across the street road 2 times instead of just one. Where you have the existing one down towards the covered bridge and just going over and they're on their school side. Now they're going to be going across North Winchester Street and then they're going to come across California Street too, if they're walking up from Main Street. So you're going across the street twice.
You make California one way, you're going to be dumping more traffic on Swanzey Street and West Street. Either way, correct?
Can I just ask the students that are walking, are they just walking from home, or are they trying to go somewhere else after school?
They're going home.
They're going home.
They also have school days where they run, at the end of the season, they'll do a track, a race around, so they come up through the sidewalks. So,
and the other part is that right where that greenery is, that's that big brick building that's actually now a sports emporium kind of thing. And my new daughter just went there for school. They have, when it's bad weather, they go there and they do their sporting events inside there. So there's a lot of activity from the school coming into that there.
I think, regardless of people walking, we're gonna make sure that it's accessible for like wheelchair users, correct?
Yes. All
And-
construction. Yeah, we have to meet ADA guidelines.
Thank you.
Would it be possible to put up more speed limit signs that might curb some of the speeding on our streets? Because I know there's only one on each street, each direction. And North Winchester Street's pretty long, and I feel like it warrants 2 signs maybe.
I think we usually do a sign package as part of the final
Yeah,
design.
usually
So
when we reconstruct roads like this, we'll look at the signage and make sure the signage is updated.
It sounds like for any of the residents, myself included, the speeding is a concern for all of us. So any ways that we can come together as a community, and I think like litter, which is not a part of this discussion, but that's another concern on our streets too. But any way that we can come together as a community to deal with speeding, I'm open to hear more suggestions if we're being told that we can't do any sort of a speed bump,
Pavement, I think like Mike alluded to, and Joe, pavement widths alone can actually do a lot visually to help people feel more confined. And then you can even incorporate that with some sort of striping package. You can stripe the lanes. You can stripe the lanes narrow too, so people look like they have 10 or 12 feet to drive, and it looks like they have 8 feet to drive in. And so it's all kind of visual. It's all kind of visual things that make you feel kind of trapped in, and that can slow people down as well. So. And that's all things that we would be looking at.
I might want to remind people that this is also a federal historic area. All of Main Street, and Winchester Street, and California Street were all part of the Homestead Aluminum Mill taking out the dam. And we've got something special here right now, and by changing some of this, is going to kind of ruin the aspect of the historic district and what we're all about. So I think we ought to think about the historic part of it a little bit before we make any decisions.
How are you maintaining the sort of historical part of the streets then, if that is a concern?
We haven't looked at any sort of historical aspects yet.
I'll add in there to that end. Because of the grant funding through Northern Border Region Commission, they do require a NEPA process, which does look at one component of NEPA is historical impacts. So that review is going on now. But I would expect that to be more like buildings and I guess I was going to ask the question, what is it about the road versus the buildings that are on the side of it that is the concern for preserving the historic feel? Like, what is there something specific about it that sticks out to you when you bring that comment up? Sorry, what specifically about the road do you feel gives the historic feeling that you're interested in preserving?
Well, actually, West Swanzey has their own sidewalk committee, and the sidewalks were part of West Swanzey Historic by the Snow Fund, and these sidewalks have been in for over 100 years, and we still maintain them under this fund. And to start changing everything was we start changing the historic part of town. And so if you're going to, ruin the history of the town and what we try to preserve, what's the point?
So, but if they keep the sidewalk, but they're just narrowing the road by putting in verges, would that keep, I think that would keep the historical part. You're talking about the sidewalk, it's not going to affect anything from the sidewalk in, it's just affecting from the sidewalk towards the road. We're going to basically add green space where we have a couple of feet of road on each side, is my understanding. Is that true, sir? So the sidewalk's in the same place, it's going to stay in the same place. You're just going to add green belt to it.
Where space will allow it.
Yeah.
If they have California Street going in both directions, the sidewalks are 5 feet by 5 feet. So if you add 8 more inches of granite to it, your road narrows down some more. And then you try to put 2 feet of green space in, it narrows it down some more. So that's why on California Street, there's no granite along that street. And so far, there's been no accidents. What they should do is fix the stone wall on the other side of the street and take out the telephone poles and make it a little safer. There's no need to change either California Street or Winchester Street except doing maintenance.
I certainly have concerns if California Street is made one way for the duress of traffic to become heavier on the other streets. What is NEEF? Did you say that?
Yeah, sorry, NEPA, and I'm not even gonna get the acronym right either, but it's the
National Environmental Protection Agency review. I think is that what
So it's federal government environmental and historic review. It covers like contamination sites and brownfields and all this kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, if folks have specific items, don't be afraid to reach out to myself, Town Administrator Mike Brandley, or Joe DiRusso, the DPW Director. We'd be happy to discuss specific issues, whether there's drainage or other things. Again, this is just the start of the process. We'll expect to have another meeting like this once it's more finalized, once we have more specific answers. And we appreciate everyone coming, appreciate you participating in the survey if you're able, and thank you all for coming. You're welcome to stay. We don't have too much left on our agenda, but thank you for coming.
Chris, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good.
So they saw we had the discussion about ambulance operations on the agenda, so I know Chief's went back again. Chief Spain was here, I think, for part of that discussion, but since Mr. Coates had decided to grace us down south, just figured we could, he and I spoke as well yesterday, and just they continue to reiterate as they have right along their willingness to, they're here if we need them, right? They're here to help.
I actually came because of item 11 on the agenda, and I was just going to be here to listen, because as
County Administrator update?
So I just was going to hear the what was going on with the ambulance services from your perspective, and because it's been a lot of unknowns out there. We, as much as you were, really on the outside looking in, and we started to hear the concerns, and at that point, we have 4 ambulances currently running in a fast car, a paramedic fast car. And what we chose to do at that point is go to 5 ambulances. We have 6 total currently in the building, and 5 staffing with 1 fast car, just because of the unknowns. And we'll continue that over the next week or so, and we'll take a look at where we're at. As this starts to transition out. We look forward to the opportunity to meeting with your committee at some point and letting them come to our facility to tour. We are here, we are up and running. We have done 911s in this community, and we will continue to be the backup to that. Initially, one of the reasons we did ramp up is because we were told by the mutual aid chief that one card was that if 1 goes away, 2 goes to 1. And in Swanzey, that was us. So we wanted to make sure we were ready and that our team understood what the expectation is. One of the things I will say is that there's a misnomer out there. Yes, we're new-ish, but the staff that we have and the years of experience that they bring to the table is competitive, if not more so than most in this area. We're proud of the work they've done in a very short period of time to get us to the point where we are. Interfacility transfers, we're over 800 in transfers, and the hospital is counting on that because they need to move patients. And we have Westmoreland, we have other towns that we're being notified that are in the process of going through their select board to make some decisions. And we'll see how it all plays out. At the end of the day, politics aside, and this is what we've been doing, because there is a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of leading comments that lead down paths of more misinformation. We're here to serve. We're here to when individuals need us, we want to be ready to serve. Just like we are at the nursing home, just like we are at the DOC, and the Sheriff's Department, and any other department in the county, we are ready to do whatever the community needs of us. Simple as that. And we are saddened, and some focus the blame towards the county. I understand that. In the coming days, we will start having a conversation with the communities around some of the many untruths that are out there, and start really having them understand our narrative, because there's just, it's concerning, because we should be focusing first and foremost about the needs of our community, and that's the reason we're here. We didn't want to be here. You know that. You've heard our story before. We didn't want to be here. We were asked to be here, and we had to make a decision at one point if we were going to move forward or not after we weren't able to finalize a deal with the DiRussos. And that was disappointing to us, but we had to make a decision at that point. And there was many in this community that said, please move forward. And we did that. So again, we look forward to the opportunity. In the meantime, if you need us, if things change and you feel you need to do something, we're here and we're ready to go, and we have an incredibly gifted team. All right. Any questions? As always, you can just reach out to me. I'm really easy to get a hold of. And Chief, did I miss anything?
No, you did a great job. One thing I would say is the chief is the only one in his troops that have been down to see our facility. Please come down and see it. We'd love to take you through to show you where our sleeping quarters are at, to show you where we're living at, really is what it comes down to, as well as our vehicles and our education center. One thing to add on is, I know Chris brought up is, well, we're at a minimum staffing of 11 a day, but our minimum is at least 2 medics a day. And right now we're getting so many medics, sometimes it's 3 or 4 medics a day. So with that being said, we've also now hired a education coordinator. His sole role is to provide education not only for us, but before I left here, we're meeting as far as presenting educational programs for everybody here.
But Chief, you're killing the presentation when they do come to the
Oh, okay, well, here.
That's what you call a teaser.
It's
Yeah,
easy,
it's a teaser. So, we are gonna be there, but come on down, and, you know, even if I'm not there, we will give you a tour. You know, actually, I think we have pretty good coffee there. You know, I've been doing this for almost 50 years, so we perfected coffee, you know.
So if you have any questions, you can always reach us. Do you have any questions now? Okay.
The, I believe DiRusso had started an EMT class on Marlborough Street or something about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about that? And is that something you guys could
We're-
facilitate
we-
getting done or helping out with?
Because we received a $200,000 grant that we have from the state of New Hampshire, we have the trainer that you just, and we're gonna be getting that going. And at the same time, my understanding is that they'll probably not, they'll probably continue the course on some level.
Right.
And continue, the more we can get EMTs through the program one way or the other, just like the more we can get LNAs and LPNs and RNs in our community, the better, then the better for all of us. It's not it is a competition, I guess, but it's not really, it's about care.
You know, and something to go along with it. We want to get a medically trained individual, whether it be a citizen, and we do have communication out there, I can tell you, between the citizen, between the fire departments, between us. Our goal is to get someone there within 90 minutes of the initial call that we, the emergency services receives 90% of the time. And that's what we're trying to do.
Good.
Thank
Chief?
As you explained to us, Rescue Inc. is taking over the lease at 301
310.
Marlborough Street.
Yeah, that's-
So, and they're taking over that
Okay.
AT class to finish.
Just wanted to make sure that people weren't like getting left hung out to dry, you know?
No, they're gonna.
Like I said, that's a good thing,
Good.
because the more we can get EMTs in the community, the better.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Chris,
Yeah.
the chief could tell you, we did discuss earlier, and between Michael and Bill, they'll be reaching out to the county over the next week or so to report back to us on the 17th.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Yep. So we're gonna go to a non-public, now. So if you would care to evacuate the premises, we'd appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, once they make the motion, you'll cut it. So you're gonna make that
Under
motion?
A,
Yeah.
make a motion, we go into non-public under A.
Second.
Colby.
Motion's been made, okay.
Sorry. Colby.
Aye.
Walker. Karazinski.
Aye.
This meeting was recorded by Falls Area Community Television, located at 1 Hospital Court, Bellows Falls, Vermont. If you would like a copy of the meeting, our phone number is 802-463-1613, or email us at fact810@gmail.com. Falls Area Community TV, keeping government honest.